Welcome back, everyone. It's another week, another video. And in this episode, we're going to be checking out the rocker panels. So yeah, I hope everyone had a great week. So now it's time to move on to some external body parts. We're going to start here on the other side, where if you go back and I had completely rebuilt the inside part of this rocker panel, I know there's nothing on the other side. It has this covering up a hole, and all it is got a screw at the front and one at the back, and it's hiding the fact that there's absolutely nothing behind it. There's no metal left at all. So other than the bottom of the fender here, and the same as with the quarter panel where it comes around the tire, it appears to be okay. And underneath, it is rusty, and there's a hole here and there, but it does feel like there's quite a bit of metal. So I'm hoping I'll start on this side, get her cleaned up. It'll be semi-easy, and then I'll move in over there to the hard stuff. So now this is all stainless steel down here. It's not even chrome, and it's held up really well. But from factory, there's supposed to be these screws every 12 inches. And on the front, there's some. On the back, there's one. But if we come in here close, these have never had screws from factory. They missed half the side originally. But even what they put in here, though, these are all just ferrous metal screws. They're all rusted. They do this. They make the staining around the stainless steel, which can be cleaned off. Just kind of a pain in the butt. But I'm going to get in here. I've taken a few out. This one here, I'm going to have to grind the head off. It broke out half the screw and keeps turning. So I'll get her off and see what it looks like. So with that trim off, we can get a better view here, what's going on inside. So we're at the passenger side at the back of the car. I knew the back, part of the back quarter panel, the front half, I knew that was bad. You can see that. But I got strange bubble here. This is forced right out. There's a hole here, and it's not soft, it's not rusty, but if I feel here, what I think this is a main seam, not part of this structure, because this is one whole piece that does kind of the side mount and a center pillar. But I think this is a seam where the whole back half of this car is welded to the unibody, which also comes up into here. You can see this funny kind of the paint is flaked off, but not rusted. This is a lead seam that's put in here from factory, and that's how they attach the roof to the quarter panels. Had some critters living in there. Found a mouse nest, but that is how much of the right-hand quarter panel is gone. So I've got it cut out. It's real nice because it's all solid metal right up to where this transition is. And that stainless steel piece actually comes all the way up here, right to the top. So I'll be able to weld to this and get a new panel. I'll grind it, clean it up. But yeah, I won't have to do much body work because it's all going to be hid behind that little trim piece. So I won't have to make it perfect. And then of course, inside here, you can see right through, there's a separate piece as well. There's a separate panel. It's actually on the back side. This strip here is what's left over from this side. It's still good shape. I'm going to leave that on for just for my profile. But once I get this rocker panel made on this side, we'll go in on the back side. We'll put a plate in there as well too. Make sure it's all sealed up so no water gets in there. On the bottom of this front fender was a little worse than what it looked like up here. This is easy replacement. Getting down in here to all these weird shapes and stuff kind of becomes a pain in the butt. But what are you going to do? We got to work our way through it. Let's jump over to the other side. Now the other side I knew was going to be bad, but it is still not as bad as I thought. We have solid metal right at the top here. Now there is absolutely nothing in here. We have good metal here, of course, because this is the 1/8 inch plate of the rocker panel that we built that goes right up to the inside. And once we get back here, right around this area, there's one little hole right here. but then the last 3 feet of the car is in perfect condition. There's no holes underneath or anything. But again, we come to this point where it's bubbled up. Again, it's not like rotted rusty, but it's been pushed right out. You can kind of see this little line here, and the same thing. This is a seam where the back half of this car is attached to the unibody. And of course, we come up here on the roof, and again, not rusted, just some paint flaked off, you can see here. And then this is solid, and this is hollow. So right here is where that large lead seam is. And going on the first side, I've got all my paint cleared off here, really nice. And yeah, there's not even any pitting underneath there, it's really good. And I cleaned off my strip. So I got a piece of metal here that I bent a 90-degree edge on and put some holes in it all the way along here. And that is going to get spot welded right on that side. Now I got some vice grips. I'm going to clamp it up there and see how it looks. Now, that test fit real good, that panel. So what I'm doing now is I'm trying to make the curve of that panel. So I got myself just a piece of pipe here in the vise, and I clamped this in on it. And as you can see, it's just slowly working that by hand. It looks a little wonky on the side there, but in the end, I think this will curve out nice. So, let's see how we get going so far. I think I'm pretty close to meeting at the top seam. If I test fit that in there by hand, sorry, I'm trying to do this one hand here. She's getting close, it's coming. And then in the end, this will come around and touch right in there. I'll be able to weld that in, just a little bit of body filler, and it'll be behind that stainless steel trim piece, and you'll never see it. So, it's going to continue on. Still got to get a little better curve on that, and hopefully we'll get it fitting nice and snug. And got that trim back in place just for a test fit, because I ended up stitching that plate in. Now she's looking a little rough and dimply here. I tried making this nice curved edge, and I couldn't bend it on the edge of my my workbench. A little break would be nice, but yeah, I tried and I tried. I couldn't get the bend, but then I found out after I went to tack it in with that cap strip. I don't even need this. It does have a detail in it, but it only touches on this edge and this edge here, and it's got almost a 1/2-inch gap under there. So I kind of just hit it in with a hammer just to kind of bring it down a little deeper. Now, of course, the welds, this will be a complete weld all the way along. This won't be getting seam sealer, so I'll have to do one continuous weld, clean it up with a flappy disc to make sure that there's no pinholes at all in it. And as you saw, that chrome strip or that stainless steel strip comes right up to the edge here, and we'll cover it all. Underneath, I got my plug welds in. It's all tacked along, and then it is curved really nice. It's got the perfect curve on the bottom. The front was a little harder to get in there between the end of that fender. Probably should have took the fender off, but it's a hell of a job. I'm just gonna cut this out when I do it all along the seam and put a new one in right where it sits. But I'm happy with that. So I'm just gonna work, say one more tack in between each one there, tap it with a hammer to make sure it all lays down. Then I'll start joining the welds together, going back and forth, making sure I don't get too much warpage, and hopefully that'll be it. So that makes a nice continuous weld all the way along the top there and down the sides. Now I did the welds in about 2.5-inch spacings. Did one, skip two, did one, skip two, did one, skip two. And then when I get to the end, go back and continue on to them all the way along. It doesn't look like there's any pinholes in there. We're going to grind her down with the flappy wheel, make it smooth, and we'll see how we did. There we go. I think that turned out pretty good. It is definitely solid. Now my welder, of course, because I'm running a Miller 250 with 045 wire, it makes it really hard to weld this sheet metal. So I get quite an undercut because this even turned down low. The lowest I can go on this stuff, so I get good penetration, is still too high. Any lower, it just keeps kicking back. But you see the little dark spots there? They're not holes, that's just a low undercut from my weld. Now I might be able to grind that out with a flappy wheel, but I worry that this corner edge, that I'll get it too thin, and I don't want to break through it. So it's not a big deal. A little bit of Bondo body fill will take care of that. And I'm gonna get myself a little dolly and a nice little body hammer and help smooth out that curve all the way down here. I don't need all of this divot, but I wanna kind of form it a little better just so my trim piece fits on really nice. Then over here on the driver's side, that's all that was left. That one little strip in the front and that little piece in the back that I went back, make sure I was gone past all the holes into some good metal. But yeah, I'm about 14, 15 inches further back on this side. Now, one issue I have, again, I have all good metal along here, but right underneath this pillar, the rust has come up quite high. Now this still seems solid here, which is odd, but it's rotted out behind this corner. Now I can bring my new sheet metal up high and weld into this, which would be good, and I can roll it over, but I gotta be careful I don't come out too far on that corner, or that big stainless steel strip, that trim, is not going to fit in there well, because it's supposed to go just below this dip right on the edge, and it gives that nice curve. And really the only thing I got to watch out for is if it's out too far, when that car door closes, it might end up coming in contact with it, because it is a pretty tight seam down there. But she's open. The best thing with this side though is I got this big 1/8-inch plate where I completely rebuilt the rocker panel on the inside. I got a really good material to weld to underneath, and it'll definitely make the side nice and strong. Well, kind of fast forward a bit, but I have that rocker panel tacked in place. Got my bottom plug welds in, just a few little tack welds at the top. I still gotta work this piece right here, trying to get a little bit of a bevel in here, just like it does down the back. And there's a little detail underneath I got to do. Now, one thing I forgot to video here is right in the end here. I don't know if you can see it, but I had to weld in a plate. The other side, the other rocker, it was all intact on the end, so it closed off real nice, and I was able to weld it and butt weld up to the end here. This is completely gone, just like the bottom side of this fender. So you want to stop all the crap from going down inside of the rocker panel because they're hollow. So I just welded a cap on here, and then when I rebuild the fender, you can see right where the old fender ends. That'll be the body gap as it comes up there. But that's the end of a day here. I'm gonna call her a night, and we'll pick up again here for you in a few seconds. Whew, what a mess. What a time. But I jump forward here, and I have the rocker panel in, welded, ground, and now I'm just working on this little bit of a body line. Now the body line I'm working on here, this is 100% covered up. Once that stainless steel trim goes on, it'll be just below this edge, and then it rolls underneath a little bit. You never see it, but it does have a detail in it that's indented, so I have to bring this metal back so it doesn't come in contact with it. So I built this little Body Basher 3000. It fits right in there. It's actually just about the same curve as the profile of the rest of the body of the car. So I just get it lined up in there, start off with the BFH, the big hammer, and then finish up the little one. And I just start working my way along there, hitting it in. Now it is making little dents as I go, but then I just go back and I just massage them in with the small hammer while I roll back and forth. Clean it up, getting it as smooth as I can, though it really doesn't matter because this all gets covered up by that trim like I was saying in the end, and you'll never see it. Everything worked out good on the top though. It blended in really nice. The nice profile right in the corner. I did have to do a little more extra work in here. It's a little pitted. All this ended up being bad metal that I had to cut out and grind in as well too, and then try to make that corner edge there as well. So that kind of brings us to the end of another week. It might not look like I got a lot done, but those two rocker panels, it took some time. Cleaning that metal, getting that profile and that curve made in there was the hardest thing. And trying to make it look half decent and half straight. But at least now I know I got a good solid material underneath there. Now this week coming up, this is my Achilles heel. I got to work on these lower panels of these fenders. Driver's side, yeah, it's bad, but it's not that bad. The other side, though, is all the way up, right to the wheel well opening. But anyway, as usual, thanks for stopping by. Thumbs up and a subscription. That's always appreciated. Hit that little subscribe button. You know what? You can't go wrong. You learn something. Maybe I learned something. You never know. But as always, hope you guys have a great week. Catch you later.